Hey y'all, here's some badass news from your friends here at ADHD Podcast. Have you ever wanted to up your coat or style game? Have you ever wanted to feel as cool as some of your favorite fictional characters? Look no further and check out Volante Design, an American-based company from Massachusetts. They create some amazing jackets, vests, shirts, and other fun accessories. They have some amazing original pieces that might be inspired by some of your favorite fandoms, and some fun licensed products from Mass Effect, Star Trek, and Devil May Cry. Check them out at their website, volantedesign.us, or on any of their social media pages at Volante Design. Now, I know they can be a bit pricey, but they are 100% worth it. And with your friends here at ADHD Podcast, you can get 10% off with our affiliate code. Our code is ADHDPOD. Link in the show notes below. Check them out and get some badass pieces for your wardrobe. See y'all soon.
Good morning, everybody, from the ADHD Podcast. I am your host, Steve.
I am your host, Rob.
And we're going to have a fun episode today. We're going to be talking about one of our favorite superheroes of all time. And I think everybody knows who we're going to be talking about. They are a beloved character. They are one that transcends decades of everything that has gone through. They've been around for what seems like forever, right, Rob?
It really is. I think it's almost 100 years at this point, or we're getting pretty damn close to it, of this one particular character. And dare I say this, he might be the most well-known superhero ever.
I think so. And we're talking about everybody's favorite big blue Boy Scout, Superman, right?
No. I mean, that would be smart with the movie and everything, but we're going to talk about, like, the counterpart, the other guy.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I hold on one second. I'm going to mute myself, and then hopefully I'll be able to come back. I just need to get something real quick so I can get ready for the episode. Carry on.
Carry on my wayward son. I am so excited to talk Batman. I think everybody is excited about Batman, especially with James Gunn taking over the DCU right now, seeing what he just developed with that Superman movie and seeing how much that's taking in. And it's this kind of starting to shift away from the dark and grittiness of Batman, which is that Batman? Is that Bat? Is that Batsy?
What are we talking about today?
Yes. Where is Batman? Where is Harvey Dent?
Harvey Dent.
Oh man, so we are going
too bad we're not recording that as a video.
Yeah, right. This one was audio, but Steve just came on to Discord, since we are recording via Discord today with Batman mask on, so kind of caught me off guard.
This Batman mask is my wife's. Who people, if you listen to the one episode talking about Tribeca, that's my wife.
That's my wife.
I think it's hilarious because years ago we did, when she was still in college, a kind of awkward couples costuming for Halloween one year.
That's
you dressed
great.
up as Batgirl, and I dressed up as Commissioner Gordon.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, no, I there was no sexy times that night.
No Batman?
Yeah.
You didn't pull out the $1 million Playboy for that night? You decided to go with Commissioner Gordon?
The funny thing is the reason I went with Commissioner Gordon was one of her friends in college. The first time that like I hung out with her after we started dating, they were very drunk and very high and looked at me from across the party and goes, "Holy shit, I'm partying with Commissioner Gordon."
That's a great way.
I didn't have the full luscious beard that I have now, and it was kind of like I would usually shave off my sideburns, so I looked like Gary Oldman from the Dark Knight trilogy.
Right.
And I was like, "Hey, cool, I know what I'm doing for Halloween this year."
Oh my gosh.
That was an easy costume to put together.
That's such a fun story of your connection to Batman. Outside of, I'm sure everybody's first connections with Batman for our age was either Batman the Animated Series or that Mr. Freeze movie of Batman.
Oh, Sub-Zero. Such a phenomenal movie.
Between that and Batman
that was Mask of the Phantasm.
Right.
But before we get into talking about any of those, why don't we just kind of talk about why Batman is so significant? And like, I know that you have such beautiful notes. If you want to start off,
I mean,
and then we can kind of follow the outline that we have for once instead of bouncing around.
I mean, listen, since I started the master's program and trying to organize myself more, something like that really helps us. But jumping into it, really, Batman is more than kind of just a comic book character, which of course that's where his origins are, and he's more than just a movie personality that we all have grown to understand, use him in like normal everyday talk. He is literally just culturally dominant, whether you're talking about Batman himself or the Joker or Harley. Even the villains and even the side characters end up having this bigger cultural impact than something like, let's say, even though Superman is pretty big too, but I even feel Batman like surpasses that, because Batman is kind of closer to the normal expectation of what it would be like in real life, right? Like, it feels so surreal with his backstory getting told 1,000,001 times that we all know at this point, and him not having superpowers.
I'm excited for when we get to see Batman in the new DCU, and I know we're jumping around a little bit.
I was saying that before too. Like, I love the idea of what James Gunn did.
We're not doing the origin story. Like, with the new Superman that just came out, they didn't do his origin story. It was awesome to just see him as an established superhero. And I know that I
wouldn't say he was established. I'd say he was young. He's only 3 years in at that point. I mean, he's seen his fair share of shit at that point, but he's not anywhere near what we got shown as Superman or even Batman when we were kids, you know? Like, we almost got them in, like, super big baddie mode every single time. Mm-hmm. It's fun to kind of see it where it's, like, the building blocks, you know, to your point, like, in what I'm expecting for the James Gunn version, are we gonna get, like, teenage angsty Batman? Are we gonna get teenage angsty Bruce Wayne before or after the events of that, but growing into the Bat role?
No, because we're gonna have Damian Wayne.
We are gonna have
That's already been confirmed, that we're gonna have a Robin of some sort in Batman Brave and the Bold.
Right.
And I believe that they're talking about Damian Wayne. So that means it's going to be an older Batman, but he's not going to be like the jaded Batman. He's not going to be like the Robert Pattinson Batman, which that was a phenomenal movie. But let's we'll get talking movies in a little while.
So let's just kind of jump in. Or what do we want to do?
I was going to say, before we get into talking about the character, what are your connections to Batman? I know that I just said, like, one of my stupid ones, but, like, what is, like, the first memory of Batman in your life? Like, who is that connected to? What is that connected to?
I mean, for me, being the gigantic cartoon nerd that I am, it was not the comic book, it was not the live-action movies, it was, in fact, Kevin Conroy's Batman and Mark Hamill's Joker and that version of Batman. Oh, wait, no.
The quintessential Batman and the quintessential Joker.
Correct.
I will fight anybody who says
we'll get into that part of it, too, in a little bit, right? What we want to dive into on that end. But just in terms of, like, my, I guess, origins with the Bat, it was that, you know, the great... and again, single-handedly, probably the greatest animated series for a superhero.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it spun off so many good other shows. Like, you had Batman the Animated Series, then you had The Adventures of Superman, and then it was The New Adventures of Batman, and then that created the Justice League cartoon, which was probably one of the best iterations of the Justice League ever.
Yeah, right? Like, there's just so many different things that particular series was able to springboard for the next generations and for the next wave of content. And to think that this started off as a golden age comic in 1938, like, how insane is that to think about the legacy of this? It came out in 1939, so you're figuring you've got about, it's 2025 now, you've got about 14 years before it celebrates 100 years. And it's growing more and more than ever before.
Hopefully we're still alive at that point.
Yeah, right? With the state of the world, who knows? But as long as we got bats, as long as we got Clark, we can build some hope back into humanity, and we can maybe have a chance of survival.
Yeah, because I think a lot of, especially with millennials nowadays, we learned to protest because of Batman and Superman.
Exactly. Like, where do these...
Because of Batman, because of Superman, because of the X-Men. Like,
people...
we learned that human rights are real and we should fight for them.
I love, too, and not to get political, because we never really like to steer into that conversation as much as, like, we talk about it, but with Batman and Superman, it was always about that. With these comics, it was always a political statement. And for people who don't see that, I'm sorry to tell you, you're blind.
You're stupid.
I did not say that. I did not. I won't say that. I will
100% throw hands with people if need be. If you do not, if people are saying that Batman and Superman are too woke, as I'm doing air quotes that people can't see except for you, clearly you don't know the source material.
Exactly. And to go off of that, right? So let's talk about the source material. Batman, the character himself, was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Bill Finger is undercredited for the role, but he is a part of it, right? And he came out in...
Bob Kane is like, that's like the name that you think of when you hear original Batman. Like, when you hear Batman's origin, you think of Bob Kane. But
yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like with Marvel and
Stan Lee.
Jack Kirby. And it's like, it's like Bill Finger is like Jack Kirby, that like people, if you know the stuff, you know his name, but if you just are a casual fan, you'll know Stan Lee and you'll know Bob Kane, but won't know the significance of Bill Finger.
Exactly. And Batman made his first appearance, like I was saying before, in 1939 in Detective Comics number 27. And honestly, they weren't really sure if it was going to work, per se.
Yeah.
Like, it was very much a thrown up in the air, and you'll even see and we'll talk about it soon, the origins of the Batman comics and how much differences we've gotten in that narrative since that beginning of it. And I think that also just goes to speak on a creative process that, yeah, you can release something that isn't perfectly polished quite yet back then, but watching it develop over time. And that's why you see cartoons develop their style over time, and why you see all of these different comic books taking the even, and very much ADD jumping off the boat here, webcomic like Kipo, and then watching it get adapted to the Netflix show created by the same guy. Little subtle differences in both, but you can totally see the love and the care that you give when you let something actually develop and don't expect something to be perfect or spectacular right away just because you have that motive.
Look at Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel.
Yeah.
Hell of a Boss how it just started out on YouTube and was this raunchy thing, and it grew into being bought up by Amazon to have both series now on there. Like, Has Been Hotel was on Amazon, but now having Hell of a Boss on there as well, it's really cool to see that it started off as just this stupid sexualized kinky thing, and now is still a stupid sexualized kinky thing, but now with more money and looks pretty.
And listen, I'm gonna just say a comment out here. I think that is gonna be the future of animation, whether people like it or not. Independents are gonna flock to YouTube because they're gonna have more creative control. YouTube's easy to distribute. It is a free distributor. I don't need to worry about what a network or an executive is going to tell me. I don't need to worry about them taking away my budget. I can put something out there. Fans are going to flock to it. Money's going to come from it, regardless of support from a big market if it's good enough, like we've saw with Has Been Hotel, like we've seen with Infinity Train, like we've seen with countless other forms of animation recently, right? Based off of the web, and then all of a sudden they get picked up by mainstream, and then everybody, oh, I've been waiting, I want this, I need it. I'm that person. I always see this stuff on YouTube, and I go, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this to be a show.
So do we want to start talking about the comic book era?
Yeah, I mean, we can, and it also just goes back to the idea that we were talking about before with the different adaptations and iterations over time, because we've gotten dark and gritty Batman, we've got colorful and sci-fi kind of Batman, we've got kapow kachow Adam West Batman, we've got so many different styles of Batmans, but I think we all...
Oh, yeah. And it seems like each generation, when Batman kind of gets reintroduced to the culture, you can see that each generation has their own Batman. Even looking within my own family, my dad grew up reading Superman comics and DC comics. He was actually a part of the Superman fan club, and would get the monthly comics sent to his house, where he would have the whichever Superman ones would be coming in, along with the Jimmy Olsen comics and a couple others. You look at him, and he grew up with the gray and blue Batman, or the black and gray Batman, kind of like you see in Batman the Animated Series, that aesthetic. But he really was a little bit more of that campiness. And then you look at my brother, who grew up around the time of having things that were The Dark Knight Returns, Year One, some of that stuff that was coming around in the 80s and the 90s. I think he still has the Death and Return of Superman in comic form,
that's
the
legit.
Serialized version of it.
That's legit.
Which is awesome.
That's legit.
I remember reading that as a kid. It was so cool.
So, as you talk about comics, I kind of want to just, loosely break down for those who don't know what we're talking about with some of this stuff. Just kind of what comic book ages are and what Batman was at that point. So you obviously have the golden age when comic books obviously originated and had this big boom. This was 1938 to about 56. And Batman during this time was kind of like what we got used to with the Christopher Nolan adaptations, that kind of dark, gritty, detective, noir style, because he, obviously Detective Comics, it was meant to be someone who was a crime detective, a crime sleuth who just happened to have access to all of this stuff.
And a lot of those stories, like, you get introduced to some of, like, Batman's more rooted rogues gallery in that era. So, like, that's when he's really sitting there, and it's around the time of, like, you know, gangsters are still really big in the culture.
Yeah, gangsters, mafioso.
The mafia is still a thing. I mean, the mafia is still a thing nowadays. Don't mess with the mafia.
I'll take your finger.
But that's when he fights a lot of his corruptions. That's when he's, like, really making a name for himself as that detective and all of that jazz.
Yeah.
And
jazz era, was that intended?
Stuff, like, the Joker is first introduced in that era and isn't a popular character, I think, in the first.
Oh, no, they didn't want him to be a popular character originally, right? Like, I think you were about to say it. I'm sorry.
Another gangster-style person that I believe at the end of the comic, like, Batman drops out of a helicopter and supposedly the Joker dies.
Yeah, the original adaptation, you're right. Joker does, in fact, die at the end to Batman's hand. Which is weird to think about because of the whole I won't kill people thing, right?
Oh, yeah. No, at the beginning, Batman had no qualms of ending people's lives.
And that's the fun thing.
He even carried around a gun.
Yeah, legit. Like handgun, bang, 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 pistol, gang style.
No, he didn't do the sideways. He didn't do the sideways. It was always straight up and down. He did the cop, no sideways.
And then, going off of that, we go into the Silver Age comic age, which is...
And I think that this is the Batman that, like, most people gravitate towards when they originally think of, like, the original Batman.
Yeah, and 56, 70 is around the time frame, so 1956 to 1970. You get some fun adaptations added into this, like Batmite is introduced throughout this point. Rainbow Batman, which I always forget that Rainbow Batman is in fact a thing.
Yeah, because he literally has a different outfit for each day, which I think is hilarious. And then he's just like, I'm just going to combine all of them because I can, because I have that much money. And it was around, I believe, in the Silver Ages when you first get Robin brought into the fold. And you have his, like, it's the beginning of the Bat family, essentially.
I'll be honest. My research did not go into that part. I did not research the Robins. So you probably may be right on this, because I think you are. I think this is when, like, especially in that era in media, too, you got to think there's, like, a lot of buddy comedy, buddy film like that. So having Batman have a companion like Robin really helps balance out the whole dynamic of I'm dark, gritty detective kind of in a way, and I'm going to do things by the book, and then here's Robin who's learning it on the fly.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
So what does research came up?
Robin did come out in the Golden Age. He came out, he was introduced into the comics in 1940. He debuted in Detective Comics number 38, April 1940.
Huh.
And this is just going off of the Google AI BS. Robin debuted in Detective Comics number 38, April 1940, introducing the concept of a young acrobatic sidekick to Batman's crime-fighting efforts.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
So, I'm going to sit down and shut up.
Listen, we're allowed to be wrong. Research is allowed to be wrong. And I made an inference based off of the time era. So, I was wrong. You don't think Robin comes in during a dark, gritty moment because of his outfits?
No. Yeah, no. The original Robin outfit is definitely one that I think really does deserve all of the laughing stock at it. Like, who's going out wearing bright red and green, and he really is the boy blunder.
And again, you're also thinking about this now, same time out era for Silver Age. This is the same era as, and we'll talk about these series in a bit, but the Adam West Batmans, where we got the classic Pow, Ka-chow, Gadzooks Batman, or same bat channel, same bat time. Like, such campy, catchy things to just bring a new audience into it at that era.
Yeah. And just looking into Robin a little bit, do you know why they went with the name Robin as like the boy wonder?
Go ahead. You have the research up. I don't want to make a fool of myself off of my guess.
No, I want to see if you can get your guess, because a part of it also, like looking at this right now, ties into another character, which I think is hilarious.
Now that you just gave me that information, I'm totally wrong, so I'm definitely not going with my guess. Just say it.
No, what was your guess? What was your guess? What was your guess? What was your guess?
Because that's... Rob... It was a dumb guess. No, just... I can't even articulate it now. It's that bad.
It's based off of Robin Hood.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. The original costume was inspired by Robin Hood, which now totally makes sense for the second Robin of going from being Robin to Red Hood.
Oh no! I'm learning about God. Robin on the...
We're still supposed to be talking about comics, and we've... Like, I have spoiled so many different things already.
Okay. Listen now, for a second.
I'm going to annoy Rob real quick so I can do this.
For a second. Can we talk about possibly getting a Robin movie? Just a solo Robin film?
No, I don't want to see a Robin movie. I want to see, if we're going to do that, it has to be a Nightwing movie.
And Nightwing canonically needs to have...
I want to see Dick Grayson. I want to see his, three-legged puppy, which I just found out that Dick Grayson has a three-legged puppy. That's adorable.
I knew this.
Named Haley.
I knew this.
AKA Bitewing. I sent you the reel this morning. I don't know if you've watched it, but I fell in love with this little,
I knew this already, but...
And I was like, oh no, it's so cute.
I did in fact know that already, but I did not see that reel yet, so that makes it even more hilarious.
It's like Lucky the pizza dog.
Getting back on track, we talked about Golden Age, we talked about Silver Age, let's talk about the Bronze Age, where we go back to the darkness and the grittiness. We go from 1970 to about 1986. And this is where we start to get the tales of Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I was going to be like, this is when we get, like, some more of the... Well, I mean, in the Silver Age, that's where you get some, like, more of the supernatural enemies that Batman fights, but it's really in the Bronze Age that, like, they become solidified, and you're like, oh, these are a major threat. And that's where you get, like... You get to see Ra's al Ghul and all of that. I believe it's around this time in the Bronze Age that they've moved on from Dick Grayson into Jason Todd or the Robins, and like you can see the evolution of Robin and the evolution of Batman being like, hey, I want to help out another person who really needs help. And I'm trying to remember when when was he introduced? Okay, so that was Jason Todd was introduced in 1983, so that's towards the end of the run of the Bronze Age, the beginning of the Modern Age a little bit. But that is where you get to see more of that realistic, but also how everything becomes supernatural and Batman's fighting some of like his hardest hitters.
Right. No, absolutely. And then we go from there, and we are now in the current age that we're at now. From 1985 to now is the modern age. So this is Dark Knight Returns, Year One, Killing Joke, Arkham Asylum, all of the things that contemporary fans of Batman kind of associate to Batman.
And then you also have within the wider DC universe, that you get Crisis on Infinite Earth. You get a lot of these like very big. Oh, you don't know that one?
I do not right now. No.
Oh, Crisis on Infinite Earth is a phenomenal series.
I need to give myself a read on that. Sorry, I was just I had a phone call coming. I had to turn off for a second.
No, you're good. But it's like around this time, it's like you get Crisis. You get like some really big stories coming in, and not just like within the Batman universe and all of that. This is when DC really amped everything up because this is when like the big feud between DC and Marvel was like hitting its.
Yeah, this was the apex of the rivalry between the two, the comic book wars, if you will, even though we kind of just know Marvel and DC as the only two now.
Yeah. I mean, you at that point you had like IDW, Dark Horse was like a burgeoning comic.
Image Comics.
At that time. Like there are just so many.
And Dark Horse is still around. They still do great stuff. I love how they...
Same with IDW.
I love how Dark Horse produces an art book. They do a lot of stuff for like Frederator Studios, and anytime I get an art book from them, they treat it with such love and care. So I'm so happy that Dark Horse is still around.
Dark Horse did all of the Legend of Zelda, like essentially history and like artifact books. That if there's like a major art book for the Legend of Zelda, most likely it is Dark Horse that's doing it. Like they did the Hyrule Historia, which I think is the quintessential like history textbook that you need for that series. But that's a talk for another day.
Yeah, so let's kind of just go right into Batman in film and television now, just because, hey, that's where a lot of people associated and got their Batman exposure in the first place. But also I feel like it's kind of important to touch up on these, even though we touched on the origins with the comics, and that's a good thing to do. But we got a lot of different moments in this, in film and television that Batman has also come into.
And like with the comics, a Batman show, whether it be animated or live action, has been around since about the 1940s in different iterations where you have like, you know, Batman with the big pointy bat ears initially, and like,
oh my god, the cheese
that you look at like you could buy at any Spirit Halloween or store like that.
Yeah, because Party like, City doesn't exist anymore.
That was the Batman outfit.
Oh my god. No, seriously.
On TV.
Seriously, from the 40s and the 60s, we got the cheesy Batman. We got the cheesy...
Hey, you don't talk down about the 60s. Adam West is a phenomenal Batman, and he's an even greater Bruce Wayne.
Can't argue with you. Cannot. However, you cannot tell me that Adam West one was not full of camp, not full of cheese, not full of, like, some cringy moment to look at back now. As opposed to...
Oh, dude, there was... In the Adam West Batman, I will admit, there was more cheese than you would get at, like, you know, an Olive Garden in that show.
You would get more cheese in West...
Just from the movie alone, having shark repellent. And literally Batman jumping the shark. Which I don't remember which came first, whether it was the Fonz legitimately jumping the shark or Batman jumping the shark.
No,
and that's where the term jumping the shark comes from. I think it's Happy Days, but don't hold me as gospel.
I think you are correct, but like, just to the point, right? Like, that's what made Batman relatable at first to people, because it's just so goofy and fun and lighthearted in a way, even though it's talking about fighting crime and injustices in the world.
There's also a phenomenal scene in the Batman show with Adam West that I believe, it's Commissioner Gordon and the mayor call Bruce Wayne to talk with him about something with ransom demands from one of the rogues gallery, and then they call Batman to tie him into the call with Bruce Wayne, that it's legitimately Adam West holding two phones at one point, going like this and then going like this and then going like this, as nobody can see, putting one phone up to the ear and one phone down, and then switching to the other one so that and changing his voice so he sounds like just any old boy talking as Bruce Wayne, and then gets a little bit more gritty and a little bit more to become Batman, and then goes back to being Bruce Wayne, and then becomes Batman, and then back to Bruce Wayne. And it is one of the
It's almost Robin Williams style of energy.
Yeah, it is so good. And you also, from that show, you get so many of the, rogues gallery that we know nowadays that have became staples because of that show, with Cesar Romero doing the Joker, where Cesar Romero was this, they got so many big actors for this show that just became even more household names and made those characters household names, which I think is hilarious. For just looking at the Joker real quick with Cesar Romero, if you look at his makeup, Cesar Romero had this big bushy mustache that he refused to shave off to do the Joker. That I didn't realize this for the longest time. It just looked like makeup to me. But if you look closely enough through the makeup and through the white cake that you can see on his face, you can see his mustache and how much that became a part of his character, which I think is hilarious. But you also get Burgess Meredith as the Penguin. You get Gorsham as the Riddler, and you have two phenomenal actresses playing Catwoman that really tie into that idea of, Batman and Catwoman, will they, won't they, type of thing between Eartha Kitt and Julie Newmar.
Which, two great people to get, by the way.
Oh my God. Julie Newmar was an amazing Catwoman, but I think I liked Eartha Kitt's voice a little bit more for it. The purr that she had was just absolutely wonderful.
And to kind of just go into the next one, we get the Burton era films with the Batman in 89 and the next one in 92, and this is when we get some people's favorite Joker in Jack Nicklaus, which is a very good argument.
Jack Nicholson.
Oh, I said the wrong name. God dang it. I apologize.
You said Jack Nicklaus. It's no, Jack Nicholson.
Nicholson.
But this Batman, and that's especially within the first two movies, I will stand by this. And I know that my brother would back me up on this because he's the one that got me into Batman way back in the day. That this is the best live action Batman and Bruce Wayne that we get.
I will agree that this is the best live action Bruce Wayne and Batman that we get. I agree with you on that sentiment.
It's not the best Batman or the best Bruce Wayne that we get, but it is the best combination of the two. That this is the best iteration that you can see of Batman and Bruce Wayne as one character that we get to see in live action. And I just really feel bad for Michael Keaton that he can't turn his neck in this bat suit.
And in this movie too, right? This is the Red Hood origin.
So basically, well, kind of.
I'm trying to remember myself.
No, I mean it is kind of. He doesn't go as the Red Hood. In the original movie, he's just another gangster that's a part of the crime family, and oh God, is it the Falcones? Can't remember which crime family it is. I'm a bad person.
No, it is the Falcones.
Oh, it is the Falcones?
Yep.
Okay. So he's just another like lieutenant in the Falcone family that Batman tries to save, and he just falls into the vat of acid. That like it is kind of the like Red Hood style origin or like Killing Joke style origin of the Joker, but he's not seen as like innocent.
No, not at all.
He's a gangster, and this is probably one of the best versions of the Joker that's out there. I'm not saying that it is the best. We'll get into that in a little bit. It really solidifies the Joker as it's not just one type of character.
No,
it
absolutely.
Is all for the laughs and doing like the crazy messed up stuff that the Joker does. It solidifies him as being more humanistic and driven by what a lot of gangsters are driven by.
And with the Tim Burton aspect of this too, obviously when you get Tim Burton to be the director of this Batman, you are going dark, you are going gritty, you are going gothic styling, and it lended to a lot of the styles that ended up being in stuff like Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, that kind of combination of noir with gothic, which is kind of an interesting combination when you really like go brass tacks about it. But
I love the stylings, and this is like some of the first times you get to see like the blimps in Batman over
the Bat
Gotham
Signal.
City. And even just looking at the second movie, Batman Returns, it introduces the Penguin in a really messed up way.
Oh my God, horrifying!
Terrifying, but Danny DeVito is great as the Penguin. I would love to. I think that like a part of this movie is why we have Colin Farrell as Penguin in stuff nowadays, and that's a great Penguin.
It really is. I might honestly be my favorite.
I don't know. I like the Arkham Penguin.
So then, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even though his Cockney accent is so stupid,
it's bad.
Oh God, Cockney Penguin is that just no, I don't like that. But the characterization is great itself. So it's also just kind of like seeing. So after the Tim Burton movie, we have the Joel Schumacher movies, which because I think it's supposed to be within the same universe.
Yeah, and now we get Val Kilmer as Batman at this iteration.
Yeah, because then it goes Val Kilmer and then George Clooney.
And these two movies
goes from being, but it goes from being like this gothic noir, what gritty type of Batman that we like, into still being gothic noir, but being it reminds me a lot of the Adam West Batman, that it just goes full camp.
And add on top of that, when you add Jim Carrey as the Riddler and add to that zany, manic energy that only Jim Carrey can provide as the best Riddler, I don't care what anybody says, the best Riddler. Like, it is insane to me that you have Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face too in this. Like, even
who's supposed to play Two-Face originally, because we are introduced to Harvey Dent in the earlier movies.
Right. Well, I'm forgetting who Harvey was in them. Oh God.
Billy D. Williams. Lando Calrissian himself was supposed to be Two-Face, and they do continue that in. They came out with a comic run that was called Batman '89 that continues his version of Two-Face in that, which I think is really cool.
No, it really definitely is. And then you go into the second movie with Batman and Robin, and this actually is one of my other... listen, as much as it is, this is one of my early memories of Batman specifically, just because of how awful the acting was, especially with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You need to chill out. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Schwarzenegger was a great choice.
No, he absolutely was.
For Mr. Freeze, or for he was, I think he was the best part of that entire movie. But the stupidness that you get with Bane, the bat nipples, and when Batman goes out to a club and whips out the bat card, don't leave home without it.
Clooners!
Oh my god.
It's Clooners! What did you expect? He didn't know what he was going into when he accepted the role. He had never read or watched anything Batman related. He knew nothing of it.
They didn't let him read any of the comics too. I think this was similar to like Bryan Singer's X-Men, that Hugh Jackman wanted to know a little bit more about Wolverine because once again he had no clue about Wolverine. And Kevin Feige had to sneak him comics because Bryan Singer didn't want any comics on set.
Like, why would you do that, though? Why would you not want to know your source material?
He wanted to make it, like, original and, like, more grounded and not comic book accurate, which everybody wants comic book accurate nowadays.
You do, right? You do want comic book accurate because you want to be able to have that source material to go back off of for, defending your arguments. But there is something to the point of making something original nowadays. And it's so much harder to do with IPs like Batman, Superman, Robin.
All that. Like, even looking at, like, Marvel and how everybody's trying to guess of what's going on with Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday and Secret War, that like you can see where they're pulling everything from. And it's nice to see them pulling from the comics, but you also kind of want like do something a little bit different with the characters. Don't just follow a pre-made script that you can just say, hey, I'm doing this as an adaptation. I'm not saying that that's a wrong thing to do. Do adaptations. There are a lot of good things that you can do with that, but also, kind of make it your own. And I think that's what, looking into the next set of stuff, looking into the Dark Knight trilogy, that's what Christopher Nolan does with Batman, is he made it his own while still telling Batman stories.
Absolutely.
Like you can see bits and pieces here and there of like, this is how he wanted to do things, but then he made it his own. Like with the first movie, going into a character that really wasn't well known within like the zeitgeist of just everyday knowledge of Ra's al Ghul as the bad guy. Like I personally didn't know Ra's al Ghul until The Dark Knight, or until Batman Begins.
Right.
And when I went back and found out, Ra's al Ghul has been around for 40 years. Like, oh, okay. This is cool to learn more about his backstory, learn a little bit more. I was like, I thought this was just an original character. No. The League of Shadows and him as the Demon's Head is
legit.
Absolutely terrifying.
And here's where a lot of people are going to disagree with me and go with Jack Nicholson, which is fine. But I believe Heath Ledger does the best Joker ever. Obviously the tragedy that happens at the end of recording for this is, like, unthinkable in that sense.
Robert, how dare you agree with me on this one?
But
Heath Ledger, he is the best live-action Batman. I will stand by it. I agree with
live-action Joker.
Live-action Joker.
How can you...
This is also one of the best iterations of a live-action Batman.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. I don't think
Christian Bale does a great job as Bruce Wayne. but I think he does a great job as Batman.
And I think, and this might be, well, no, not really. I think this is the best Alfred that we get in every iteration. I think this version of Alfred is kind of the most grounded and most to the comics of he's there to help Batman, but he has his own particular set of skills.
I'm going to have to say, and we only get to see a little bit of this within the movies, Andy Serkis as Alfred, I think, is one of the best ones out there.
Oh,
because it shows how he can go toe to toe with Batman, mentally, like brain wise, because that's where he learns a lot of his stuff from. Originally is from Alfred, but you also know that Alfred could go toe to toe with you, in any fight. And you see that from Andy Serkis. And I'm like, I think that he is probably one of the best live action Alfreds that we get.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I always love the adage for Alfred that the reason that Batman doesn't kill anybody is to set an example for Alfred. Because if anything were to happen to Bruce Wayne and he were to die, those streets would be running red with blood in Gotham because Alfred would just go on a rampage getting revenge.
Absolutely.
Like, Alfred is terrifying. I forget which comic it was. I think it was one of the more like modern ones where Alfred is like the people break into Wayne Manor and Alfred just walks out with an elephant gun and it's just like, you guys want to leave right now. And they're like, oh, Batman has a no-kill policy. And he goes, I'm not Batman.
I knew it.
Alfred will shank if need be.
And just to keep going here, because we're already almost at an hour of recording, let's just go right into the Zack Snyder films that it's kind of controversial whether or not they're good or not, whether people love them or not, whether it's...
Batman versus Superman, I think, is... it's a going back at it, it's a fun movie. I haven't watched the Snyder cut of Justice League. Yeah, flame me alive all you want, you know, people out there. But I thought it was a fun take on Batman. It was the dark gritty of what Christopher Nolan had started.
But I think he pushed it to an extreme that seemed too dark at times for me personally with Snyder, and I understand why you pushed the dark at that point. Also
gives us the worst, and I know that it was not in his movie per se, but it was in the Snyder versus like overall. It gives us the worst Joker of all time, in my opinion. Oh
my! You're not talking about Suicide Squad. Yeah, God.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Batman as Jared, like, no, or that Joker. No, that is not the Joker. That is stupid. I like it.
And then
he doesn't bring out like the maniacal. He doesn't. He's just
he's just weird. He's just weird in the role. He does things that are, yes, creepy, yes, a little weird, but not the Joker.
Yes, I agree with that statement. But that was also, and like, I know that's coming off of the heels of having Heath Ledger as the Joker, having Jack Nicholson as the Joker, having, in my opinion, the best iteration of the Joker. And I know it's only voice acting, but it's not just voice acting. Mark Hamill is the best Joker of all time.
I was about to say, let's jump into the actual animated content, because I feel like we've been doing all the live action stuff, which is great, and but we're an animated podcast.
Well, let's finish out the live action like stuff.
Oh, we got one more live action. I forgot.
Technically, we have a lot more live action that we could talk about, because you do have things like Titans that had Bruce Wayne in it. you had the show Gotham that showed the origins of Batman, and you got to see Bruce Wayne in that and Batman for like literally a hot second in the last episode. But let's talk about Matt Reeves, the Batman, real quick.
The Pattinson Batman.
2 minutes talking about it. I think that this is one of the best iterations of Batman to date. And I hope that they continue with this styling for this Batman because it's exactly what you wanted. It shows all forms of Batman. It shows him being a ruthless, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman type of Batman. You get to see him work on him showing why he's the world's greatest detective with trying to figure out the Riddler's puzzles and everything. You see him trying to fight corruption, and it's one of the most complete Batman stories that you can see in live action, and I really like it. I was hesitant at first with Robert Pattinson taking over as
and
Bruce
I think that was
Wayne
a lot of people.
Batman.
I think a lot of people are on that.
But just like Heath Ledger, with everybody saying, "Oh, why would you get this pretty boy to play Joker? Or why would you do all of this?" Heath Ledger is like the heartthrob, and then he gave us the best live action Joker that we've ever seen, and this is one of the best live action Batmans that we've ever seen.
Absolutely. And on to the point with the Pattinson Batman, like I was trying to get out, I think a lot of people were hesitant to watch it because of that. And I think when we get the new Batmans, we're going to get James Gunn version, and I'm not sure if Pattinson's going to fit that aesthetic, but I would like to see what James is going to try and do with all of this. I mean, his work with Superman and his work on Peacemaker has been, like, transcendent for DC Comic and the DCU right now. So I'm only imagining what can he do with this Batman.
Well, it's not necessarily going to be Robert Pattinson's Batman, because the Batman takes place in its own universe. It's not taking place in the DCU. It's a part of what they're considering Elseworlds stories. So, like, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be a part of, like, to steal a term from the MCU, like the Sacred Timeline, like Creature Commandos, Peacemaker Season 2, the new Superman that just came out. All of that is connected within James Gunn's DCU. But you still are going to be coming out with movies like they're coming out with the Batman Part 2 that is seen as like an Elseworlds comic, or an Elseworlds a part of that. So it still takes place within DC, but it may not be a part of the Sacred Timeline.
Got you.
They're trying to do that with a couple other like one-offs and like smaller series. Like the Penguin is not a part of the DC. The Penguin is a part of Batman's universe.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. That does make a lot of sense. And of course...
So now we can talk about animated stuff if you want to.
Yes, I do, because we're an animated podcast.
We're a podcast about animation. Woohoo!
And
we talked about live action and comics for a little while.
And, come on. The Batman animated stuff is so goddamn good. It is so good. It is so groundbreaking for the medium in terms of Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League U, even a little bit in Teen Titans. Like, he just hops around, and all of the stuff is so damn good. Batman the Animated Series is probably a lot of people in our generation's introduction to Batman, getting some of these wonderful, legendary performances out of some legendary voice acting, and we get to see a lot of different characters that we normally would not have gotten, like Harley and Poison Ivy. And
well, Harley was created for Batman the Animated Series.
That's right.
She did not show up in the comics before that. She showed up in Batman the Animated Series, and then they brought her into the comics because she was a big hit. I did not like Harley Quinn until she got her own show recently. And I was like, okay, that's the Harley I like. Everything else, I have not liked Harley Quinn in.
I loved Harley in a lot of these different things, but the more recent adaptations of Harley Quinzel are probably the best, so to speak. Along with her show, Harley in the Batman movies themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Poison Ivy was more of a powerhouse in those than Harley were.
Yeah. But she hasn't showed up in the movies yet. The Margot Robbie Harley Quinn was like in Suicide Squad was fun. But I still didn't like the character.
And Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn in Joker 2.
Oh, that's right. I always forget about that.
And I think we forget about that one because it took such a leap in terms of conceptually with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. Of course, why not lean into the musical aspect of it since they're both such talented vocal talents? But I think the concept got away from the plot on them too much on this, and that's why Joker 2 didn't pop like Joker 1 did in those regards. But again, we just jumped back into live action just to bring up the fact that the animated series had so much influence on the contemporary Batman stuff that we know that, I think the best Clayface we got was from the Batman the Animated Series. I think the best Batman came from Batman the Animated Series with Conroy.
You get the best Batman. You get the best Joker.
The best Clayface moment.
You get the best Two-Face. You get the best Clayface moments. You get some of the best out of all of these characters come from Batman the Animated Series. And it's because it's grounded within that realistic but not aspects.
Yeah, you get to see
makes Batman great.
And you get to see the extremes of mental problems with people and how and I love the one moment in Batman the Animated Series when Harley basically is trying to turn her life around in Batman and she basically just looks up at Batman and goes, "Why are you taking so much time on me? When I've been nothing but trouble to you, why are you taking so much time?" And all he says back is, "I had a bad day once too." That's all it takes.
Yeah.
You get the most dark and gritty Batman, but you also get a Batman who is learning to deal with his own trauma and thus helping out the people that have had their own trauma and went the opposite direction of him.
Yep. No, you really do get the best iteration of Batman. And because you're in that animated space, you can do almost anything. Though there is no limit to what you can do. And you see that within the original run of the show and all of the spin-offs that you get with you get, like we said before, you get Superman, you have Justice League growing from all of that. You get some of the best Batman stories and characterizations that you can see in anywhere that it even trumps some of the comics. And I'm not including the graphic novels because you have things like The Killing Joke, which is probably the best Batman story out there.
Yeah, for sure. Transcendent. That's the first thing people flock to.
Outside of this animated, outside of just Batman the Animated Series that grew into stuff, you also get, I think it was the DCAU, the DC Animated Universe, that had
Terry McGinnis
with Batman Under the Hood, which is Red Hood and Jason Todd coming back as Red Hood.
I forgot about that Batman Under the Hood.
Yeah, and that Batman created another with a string of other movies and tying into things like Young Justice. That if you didn't have these Batman animated movies that grew into its own universe, you wouldn't have gotten things like Young Justice, Teen Titans, hell, even Teen Titans Go, which is it a good adaptation of Teen Titans? I'll leave that up to whoever enjoys it. Are there fun episodes? Yes. Is this my favorite, iteration of the team? No, nothing's going to beat the original Teen Titan show that we grew up on.
That I have the DVD too because I needed to make sure I had that physically. But,
Yeah, no, I need to get that soon.
And then you also get stuff like Batman Beyond, when you get Terry McGinnis, and you get this whole other end of it. Terry has always been one of my favorite adaptations of Batman because a bit more sarcastic, still learning from Batman, has his own trauma to deal with, but in this, cyberpunk, futuristic, still mafioso styling, but you get the old, grizzled, veteran Batman who's basically done. Terry comes in, helps him out, and ends up being the Batman kind of by accident in a way, but not really, because he's kind of...
Do we want to spoil the ending of the show?
Go ahead.
Oh, you mean how Terry McGinnis is a clone of Bruce Wayne?
Yep.
Because Amanda Waller...
is a psychopath?
I'm editing this. Amanda Waller is a... And it's like, oh, we need a Batman, so let me take Bruce Wayne's DNA because, of course, it has to be a clone of Bruce Wayne or has to tie into Bruce Wayne somehow because he's the only thing that we can have a Batman from. It's not like you have Tim Drake, Jason Todd, or anybody like that grew up with Batman that could fight crime.
No.
Like Barbara Gordon as the commissioner in this show. But no, you had to be a clone of Bruce fucking Wayne.
Again, phenomenal story. I'm so excited for what your wife gave to me in terms of news with Batman and Static coming out with a comic together pretty soon. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, no, the Batman Beyond Static comic looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm going to be picking that up.
Me too. Me too.
I don't know if it's going to be monthly or how it's going to be, but I'm going to be picking up that run.
And then me and my wife were actually just talking about this as well. Waller has to be the worst good person in the DCU. She tries so hard to be for the right reasons. And it makes perfect sense. But God, is she awful.
Do you know why? Because she is the whole iteration of the government.
But she works for them. She can't be both.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Is it's that governmental idea of I'm doing everything that I can within what I think is the best way possible, but totally is the worst way of getting things done. And the whole militarization of everything that it just is. God. Amanda Waller.
Seriously. In these next two sections, I think we've talked a lot about the Bat Family, Bat Allies, Rogues Gallery, but let's kind of touch on, in each category, what our favorites in each of these are, and kind of, what arc or story or whatever it is that makes you like them more than some of the others. So, for example, in the Bat Family, obviously, you could pick your choice from the 4 Robins, of Dick, Jason, Tim.
You know that there are so many more Robins, though, right?
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, out of these 4, right? These are the main 4 that people associate right away, but there's a gajillion Robins, essentially. Dick, Jason, Tim, and Damian.
So who's your favorite Robin, then? Out of the main 4, who's your favorite Robin?
I'm gonna say Teen Titans Robin is probably my favorite Robin, which would Tim Drake, right?
Or no, actually, no, that one originally was Dick Grayson, I think.
I'm going to look this up real quick, but I always want to contest it because I always say that the Teen Titans Robin is based off a character that doesn't have the weapon that he uses.
No, I think the Teen Titans Robin is...
Yeah, the Teen Titans Robin's Dick. It's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, it's Dick Grayson.
But he doesn't carry around the Eskrima stick in the comics.
Yes, he does. No, he uses the quarterstaff that can break into the Eskrima sticks.
But either way, I think that one is Dick. I think Dick is my favorite, and I still love that he goes by Dick, and even like into today's world, like he cannot get away from it. It is 2025, and you still go by Dick.
No, I'm just laughing at that. I shut you up real quick when we were talking about the Eskrima sticks.
No, you're not wrong. I'm just again.
No, you had no comeback to that. You just like shut down and was like, I hate how like I think it's funny how he likes to be called Dick, and I was like, and then it gave me a little bit of like justification in the bottom of my heart.
And listen, you are right. You are allowed to know more things about content than I am. It is okay.
But I like what you're getting at with Grayson. I think he probably is one of the best Robins out there, especially whole story wise, because you get to see him start off as Robin and then grow into his own entity as Nightwing, and then eventually does grow into becoming Batman himself.
Nightwing, Batman,
within the comics and within other parts of the universe. It is cool to see Dick Grayson become Batman. But I think my favorite Robin has to be Tim Drake. Just because that's the one that everybody kind of thinks of outside of Dick Grayson. Everybody just thinks of Tim Drake, and he is one of the only Robins that can go toe to toe with Batman in all aspects of his life.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I do enjoy how he's grown as a character throughout the years, instead of just being a copycat of Dick Grayson, which is like what was seen when Batman, picked a new Robin after Jason Todd, which also Jason Todd all of the Robins are just absolutely wonderful in their own sense.
Right. Each Robin is unique.
Tim Drake is the one that truly was able to help bring Batman out of his funk after Jason was killed. I like his growth as a character into Red Robin. And as woke as people are going to be calling it nowadays, I think that he is great as being a front runner for the LGBTQ community, which I believe he's bi.
Yeah, he is canonically.
Comics, and he's dating another dude at the moment and is absolutely like living his best life.
And all is right in the world. Don't judge, don't discriminate, just let people live. That's always...
Oh, yeah.
And again, if you don't know comic books, man, do yourself a favor. Just go pick up one. Anyone. I guarantee you it's got a political message that probably someone is not going to like in there.
Oh, 100%.
Hey, you did it. So...
It took me an hour.
I know, right?
So who's your favorite? Because I do want to get into the next category, which is talking about some of the video games.
Yeah.
For Batman. Who, outside of the Joker, who's your favorite Batman villain? And just give like a 30-second minute reason why.
I'm going to say Poison Ivy. I think Poison Ivy has a lot of power with her, and she does a lot of things, whether it's in the comics, whether it's in the animated series, or whether it's in the movies, that are overpowering. She does a lot of things that is motivated by environmental causes and trying to bring down status quos, and just that distinction with Batman is such a fun dynamic between those two.
Because there's a lot of stuff that Batman's just like, I agree with you.
But you're doing it so wrong.
But you don't need to kill people and blow stuff up.
You're so much smarter than this.
We will help you at Wayne Industries.
And that whole dynamic of you're so damn smart and you know what you need to do in order to save your end on environmental causes, but you're going about it the wrong way, which is making Batman come there to begin with. And they're kind of almost on the same intellectual level in terms of intelligence, maybe not on deductiveness of crime, but definitely on the smarts factor. Poison Ivy's really, really smart.
Oh, she's brilliant. There's a reason why she's a doctor.
So aside from Joker, who's your favorite in the villain department?
I'm gonna have to go with something similar to yours because they go toe to toe with Batman more intellectually than they do physically or anything like that, and that's the Riddler. I absolutely love the Riddler.
The Riddler is such an interesting character.
How much it makes Batman think and how much it ties into his I am the best or I am the greatest detective of all time. And I there's just so many different things that even tying into like Hush, where the Riddler like figures out Batman's identity, and it's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell anybody, Bruce. Like, I figured it out, and I figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, it didn't take me long.
And I can love this over you. And Batman's just like, fuck you, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you now.
Now you've made it a point.
And does. But the Riddler is not one of the characters that will test Batman physically.
No, he's not a physical powerhouse by any means.
And I like those stories the best. So I absolutely love the Riddler. And I actually, one of the first pairs when Converse did collaborations with DC is I have a pair of Riddler Converse high tops that are just awesome. And I love them, and I don't wear them as much as I should.
Well, you don't wear them because you want to keep them fresh and so clean.
That, and also, I don't know. I like comfortable shoes nowadays, and Converse aren't always the most comfortable shoe.
I totally understand that. I totally understand that. You want to jump into some of these video games now, being that we've kind of gone through a lot of the Batman asylum over here. I think this episode should be titled like Batman Beyond Ultimate Plus Ultra Mega Star blah blah blah. Like however many descriptive adjectives we can fill in about talking about Batman. I think we've gotten to that, except for the video game aspect.
Well, the video games that I want to talk about with that is, well, they're coming out with a new Lego Batman.
So excited for that.
Looks actually really good. And like the first Batman video games that came out were always tied into a movie, which I thought was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, right. And it was a companion.
There were side-scrolling beat-em-ups that were just like, okay. But I think Batman, like, to get the true sense of what it felt like to be Batman through fighting as Batman, through the traversal as Batman, through understanding how to be a detective like Batman, are the Arkham games. And I'm talking about all 4 of the Arkham games.
The Arkham games were so intense. They were so much fun, so gritty, so dark, so much of like that, like, almost like Call of Duty Halo energy with the world, like,
oh yeah,
graphics.
Like the Arkham games created their own universe within DC that spawned comics and movies. This is one of the best, I would say probably the most fun way to get into Batman is starting off with Arkham Asylum, even though, yeah, it's a little clunky. The best one out of all of them is Arkham City. And it is cool to see like the culmination within Arkham Knight. And
to jump in on
these games, it made you feel like Batman. And it brought back all of the voices that you knew as Batman. It brought back Kevin Conroy. It brought back Mark Hamill, who now Mark Hamill will never voice the Joker again since Kevin Conroy has passed away. He has come out and said that.
No, I know, which I think is so sweet in a way. Like, to hold that respect and reverence for somebody that was your partner in crime, so to speak, in this. Like,
well, the way that Mark Hamill put it was he no longer has a Batman.
Yeah, it's totally fair. And those Arkham games brought so much life back to it.
And it made you feel like Batman through the fighting and combat style, which is they're bringing back that fighting style for the new Lego game, which I think is going to be so much fun.
And I love all the little hints that they're dropping too about specific like Lego iterations of Batman that you can have in there. Like I did see that they're going to drop a Terry McGinnis Batman. They're going to have...
I was just about to bring that up. They have the Rainbow Batman that you can play as, and everybody's up in arms about it. But that Batman came out in like the 60s.
Read comics, folks. Read your source material. Don't believe everything is woke because you are upset with how the world is.
And then, like, when you had like those games, it really brought superheroes back into what could be fun in a video game. And like, I know that some after Arkham Asylum and Arkham City came out, there were a lot of video games that tried to take that fighting style for Batman and like plop it into other games, and it didn't work out as well, but it was a ton of fun. And then you also were able to spawn Batman and DC characters being brought into fighting games a little bit more. And you had Mortal Kombat versus DC at first, and that grew into the Injustice games, which are a great story and really adds a lot of fun things to the DC universe, especially with Batman showing how he does have a contingent plan for everyone. Including himself. But I think that the Arkham games, you need to talk about that in the Batman zeitgeist nowadays.
For sure.
They add so much to his character that you can actually feel even just a modicum of what it is to be Batman in those games. You get to feel the raw power that he trains to be, and you get all the fun gadgets. Like, how many times did you want to throw a batarang when you were a kid? That you can now do it in that game, and you have the little remote control batarang too to like guide through stuff, which is
the sticky bat bombs, the trackers,
and even as crappy as it was in the third game, driving around in
the Batmobile.
The Batmobile was so much fun, and because of Arkham Knight, that's why I have a PS4.
Right.
Like, I have the special edition Batman PS4.
All right.
I think we've hit a lot of different things about talking about Batman overall. We could literally do like each section could have been an episode of its own.
It probably really could have, and realistically,
we really wanted to do that. And I have a feeling Batman's going to be a character that we will probably come back to at some point.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that. And I think one thing we need to do before we wrap up this episode, who's our favorite Batman, number one? Because I don't think we ever mentioned that. We mentioned our Joker. We mentioned our side character, villain.
So for that, we're going to have three categories for it then. Who's your favorite comic book Batman? Who's your favorite live action Batman? And who is your favorite animated Batman?
I mean, I think we can both agree that animated is Conroy. That's not a question.
Is Batman?
I think
a very close second though is going to be our like Batman the Animated Series is my quintessential Batman. But I think he is the best. Whatchamacallit? I think that he is the best animated Batman. A very close second is the Arkham Batman. Once again, voiced by Kevin Conroy.
Right. So, and then
who's your favorite live action?
Live action. I'm gonna have to go with Christian Bale.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go with Christian Bale. I think that one is the quintessential for me when I think of Batman. He's great as Bruce. He's great as Batman. That stupid, dark, gritty, "Where's Rachel?" voice. That's Batman to me.
I hate his voice. I think for me, my live action Batman is Michael Keaton.
That's totally fair.
I think that he really understands both characters, and that is the best version of Bruce Wayne and the best version of Batman in a live action setting.
And then comics books one.
What's your favorite comic? So we'll go with what's your favorite comic book
era
iteration of Batman, whether it be a single run or just one of the eras. For me, I'll let you think a little bit more, but I think when I think of Batman, my favorite comic book Batman is The Killing Joke. I think that is the best the best iteration that you could see of Batman.
I agree, and I don't
that time or just that story.
I agree with you too, and I didn't want to go for the easy answer for the graphic novel that's literally sitting on the bookshelf behind me in this, but it's the correct answer. The only other one that I might consider as another run of this that is kind of fun is just the Golden Age. The original comics of Batman were so fun, even though it's kind of different than what we get nowadays with him, without the gun, less
Okay.
Yeah.
If we're gonna go with that, I would have to go with more of the modern Batman for me, just because that's what I think that Batman is.
Right.
The Batman that we know and love is that modern Batman. And that's the one that we can always point back to and say, that is Batman.
And I'm going to end our episode today with just a quote, one of my favorite quotes, an Alfred quote that I actually keep around with me. Why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. From The Batman Begins. So we can learn to pick ourselves up. In a world...
And that is one of the best quotes from any Batman. But it's not Alfred who says that.
No, that's not Alfred.
You first hear it from his father.
Yes.
It's just Alfred reinforces it several times over.
Yes.
And also, what's the point of doing all those bloody push-ups if you can't just push a little log off your chest?
Oh, that's a good one too. That is a great one. Guys, thank you
guys.
So much.
Thank you for... You want to do it, or am I doing it? Okay, I can do it. Thank you guys so much for listening to the ADHD podcast. I have been your host, Steve.
And I've been your host, Rob.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Are you tired of regular energy drinks? Do you need a pick-me-up that won't make you crash or give you the jitters? Zoom on over to W Energy. They are a clean energy drink company that was created with you in mind. These powdered drinks will give you no crash, no jitters, and no angst like many other energy drinks out there. They are a US-based company that doesn't hide what's in their products. Pick up one of their tubs of powder to help energize your day. They have a lot of fun flavors, and even some licensed ones with solo leveling. Each serving comes out to about $1 per drink, which is much cheaper than getting Starbucks, Dunkin', or any other canned energy drinks. And with our promo code, you can save 10%. use code ADHW at checkout to save some green. That's ADHDUBBY. Check it out in the show notes below. Pick up your tub today and stay energized. Thank you for tuning in to the ADHD podcast. We hope you've enjoyed our nonsense and whimsy. Please make sure to follow us on our social medias. Instagram at animateddysfunctionpod. Bluesky at adhdpodcast.bsky.social. TikTok at animateddysfunc. And YouTube at Animated Dysfunction Pod. Also, check out our merch over on TeePublic. You can find all our links on our link tree in the show notes below. Thank you again for listening, and remember, keep this podcast weird. Intro and outro music brought to you by DJ Cutman. Find him on all available streaming platforms, and you can find him on Instagram and Twitter at VideoGameDJ.